PavCo went ahead during the construction and reconstruction of the roof and put in not just completely renewed signs on the east and south side of the building, but a massive new sign behind the Terry Fox Monument, which has caused enormous stress and intrusion to the people who live in the condominiums in South Vancouver. And their concerns continue, and they certainly have made it clear to me, as recently as a few minutes ago, with people like the Vancouver Public Space Network, that they're not satisfied with how PavCo has responded to this problem, and they're not satisfied with the mitigating measures that PavCo has taken, which include turning off the sign at night, except during event nights and so on. And I think that this motion asks PavCo to do what Crown corporations have said in the past they would always do, which is, notwithstanding their ability to do whatever they want as provincial authorities, that they would adhere to city policies and procedures when it came to issues that would normally be under our jurisdiction. And they have not done so in this case. And as a result, the public has no confidence that the new arrangements are adequate. What in fact they're telling us is that they're not adequate. And I think it's a lack of confidence in PavCo's process as much as it is in precisely what's going on there. So this motion, if supported by Council, would ask the City Manager to write to PavCo and say we would actually require them to do what they said they would do in the whole rezoning of BC Place Stadium, which took place several years ago, which is that they would follow the policies and procedures of this Council when it comes to matters that would normally be under our jurisdiction, like the approval of digital signs. And they haven't done so in this case. Now, if they don't comply with this request, then the motion also would ask staff to see if there's anything else we can do, and I'm realistic about how hard that may be, to bring BC Place into compliance with what we would understand to be the right approach. But I would just say this to PavCo. There's a larger question here as we go forward with very complex rezonings about PavCo's relationship to the city, and the city's been enormously supportive of what PavCo wants to do with the new roof, including treat the roof as a community amenity and allow for residential construction around that area to be done with covenants that would require the new residents to promise not to complain about noise and light and so on from the stadium. So we've certainly gone an extra mile to facilitate the developments around BC Place, including the massive new roof and all the lighting, which seems to be on 24/7 inside. What we need, if we're going to be successful going forward, is the public to have confidence that PavCo will do what is right by the public, not just what is right by PavCo's own decision-making process. And I think that if there's not an ability on the part of PavCo to bring this into compliance, we're going to see real difficulties down the road. But I find it personally disconcerting and even slightly offensive to see huge Budweiser ads behind the Terry Fox Memorial. What I do know is that the neighbors around there are completely frustrated and upset and disturbed by what's going on, and appealing to us to do whatever we can, knowing it may not be as much as they would like, to bring this into closer compliance. So I hope there is unanimous support here. This is a difficult issue for the residents down there. They, of course, bought their places before BC Place put in the signs. The thousands and thousands of residents who live in the area on the other side of the stadium were there first, and I think they're asking for some reasonable accommodation from PavCo, and they should get it.
We are making a firm statement that we expect PavCo to come into compliance with city standards and processes, period. And that's what I would hope that this council wants, is to have that happen, because we do know that the impacts are significant. Based on the fact that our bylaws are written in such a fashion that they were already, when they were written, supported by documented evidence to support their writing and passage at that time. So I don't think we need to reinvent the wheel once again, and just give clear direction to the city manager to undertake this piece of work.
We know very clearly now that these lights are not in compliance. The bylaw, as Councillor Louis noted, was written ages ago because we knew lights was intrusive and painful and could have medical consequences. That's why the bylaw was written in the first place, and this light is out of compliance, period.
I have been in contact with Minister Bell and the provincial government for some time now, responding to the requests and concerns from citizens and residents in the area who are unduly impacted by these new signs. I believe City of Vancouver staff have been in contact with PavCo staff as well. We are seeking a reasonable resolution to bring the BC Place signs into compliance with the city's sign bylaw. And obviously a lot of work and debate went into developing that bylaw and refining it over the years. So our role and responsibility here at Council is to represent our citizens' interests and ensure that the bylaws of the city are upheld. And in this situation, we've made no progress with the provincial government, with the Minister and PavCo. So it's important to send this next message that we need an action plan from PavCo. We need those signs to come into compliance with the city standards and processes. And I think it's important that we continue to be very clear and direct in wanting to see a reasonable resolution on this issue and represent our residents' concerns.
I believe that if we did bring them into compliance with city standards, there would be very different looking signs. And I think our sign bylaw is, fairly conservative, and I think, as Councillor Ball has indicated, to some extent, the science is really evolving around signs, and we very strictly regulate, as you probably know, electronic signage in this city. There are very few examples of it. It's very, very carefully regulated, based on many, from my understanding, debates and discussions and directions from councils over the last 10 years.
If we don't speak up for the people in that neighborhood, who will? And they're looking to us to take some leadership. So we don't know how far this will get. There's no guarantees in this, but certainly a strong statement from this council, asking our staff to pursue the direction they've been going in, is by far the best way to get some relief for our citizens, based on undertakings that PavCo made to us when the original rezonings were done, that they would adhere to our policies and procedures. So I'm a bit worried about the tone of some of the interventions, that we better be careful here. We don't want to irritate the province, or let's have some more meetings or do some cancer research. Let's just tell them we need them to do what they said they would do, so that it satisfies to the degree we can the concerns of those residents.
Thank you, Councillor Meigs. We'll call the question on this motion. Councillor Meigs' motion on BC Place Stadium digital signs. All those in favour? And any opposed? None opposed. That carries unanimously.